Jake Martinez rubbed his tired eyes and looked at the screens around him. He had been working for 12 hours straight at the deep space monitoring station called Cerberus. The station floated in the dark void at the edge of human space, listening for any signals from the unknown. Most days were quiet, too quiet. Would sit in his chair watching the green lines dance across his monitors, hearing nothing but static and the hum of the station's engines. Today felt different, though. Something was wrong with the usual background noise. "Lisa, are you getting anything strange on Channel 7? Jake called out to Communications Officer Lisa Parker. She sat 3 seats away from him, her blonde hair tied back as she focused on her own set of screens. Lisa looked up and frowned. "I'm picking up something weird. It's not coming from any human ship." She pressed a few buttons and the sound filled the room. It was a voice, alien and desperate, speaking in a language neither of them understood. Jake felt his heart start beating faster. In 5 years of working on Cerberus, they had never received a real alien transmission. Earth had made contact with a few alien races, but most kept to themselves. Zephyrians were one of the friendly ones, but they rarely came near human space. "Can you clean it up?" Jake asked. Lisa was already working on it, her fingers flying over the controls. The static slowly cleared away, and they could hear the voice more clearly. It was high-pitched and musical, but the fear in it was easy to understand. "I think it's Zephyrian," Lisa said. "Let me run it through the translator." The computer worked. For a few seconds, then text appeared on their screens. Jake read it and felt his blood turn cold. "This is the trade vessel, Gentle Current. We are under attack by unknown ships. They have boarded us. Many of our people are dead or captured. We have families with children aboard. Please, anyone who can hear this, we need help. Our location is Kepler 442 system, 3rd planet orbit. They are taking our people alive. Please help us." The message repeated 3 more times, then cut to static. Jake and Lisa stared at each other in shock. Lisa's face had gone pale, and Jake could feel anger building in his chest. "How far is Kepler 442? Jake asked. Lisa checked her charts. 3 days at maximum burn. Maybe 2.5 if we push the engines past safety limits. Jake stood up and walked to the communication panel. He pressed the button that would connect him to Captain Ryan Bell's office. Bell answered immediately. "What is it, Martinez?" "Sir, we've received an alien distress call. Zephyrian trade ship under attack by pirates. They have civilians and children aboard." There was silence for a moment, then Bell's voice came back hard and serious. "I'll be right there." Captain Bell arrived in the communication center within 2 minutes. He was a tall man with gray hair and scars on his hands from his time as a Marine. He listened to the recording 3 times without saying a word. "Do we know who's attacking them?" Bell asked. Lisa had been working on that question. "Based on the attack pattern and location, I think it's the Crimson Corsairs. They're a pirate group that operates in that sector. They specialize in capturing slaves." Bell's jaw tightened. Everyone in human space knew about the Crimson Corsairs. They were brutal pirates who captured aliens and sold them as slaves. They had attacked human ships before, but always ran when the military showed up. Sir Jake said carefully, "Our official policy is non-interference with alien conflicts." "I know what our policy is," Lieutenant Commander Bell said. His voice was quiet, but Jake could hear the anger underneath. "But I also know what's right." Kyle Adams, the station's engineer, had been listening from his workstation. He was a big man with dark skin and gentle eyes, but now he looked angry too. "Captain," Kyle said, "we have those new weapons that Earth Command wanted us to test, the ones they installed last month. We could mount them on our fastest ships." Bell looked around the room at his crew. These were good people, Jake knew. Had all joined the space service to explore and protect. None of them could just sit and do nothing while innocent aliens were being murdered and enslaved. "Lisa, send a priority message to Earth Command. Tell them about the distress call and our response. Jake, calculate how many ships we can spare without leaving the station defenseless. Kyle, start preparing the weapons for transfer to our patrol." "Ships, sir," Jake said. "What about our orders to avoid alien conflicts?" Bell looked at him with steel in his eyes. "Martinez, I've been in space for 20 years. I've seen what happens when good people do nothing while evil people hurt the innocent. I'm not going to let that happen on my watch. He walked to the main communication panel and opened a channel to the entire station. His voice echoed through every corridor and room. Attention all hands. We have received a distress call from peaceful aliens under attack by pirates. Families with children are being captured and will be sold as slaves if we do nothing. I know this isn't our fight according to the book, but some things are bigger than the book. We're going to help them. Jake felt pride swell in his chest. This was why he had joined the space service. Not to sit in the dark and watch, but to help when help was needed. We leave in 6 hours, Bell continued. Volunteers only. Anyone who doesn't want to come can stay and keep the station running. There's no judgment either way. Within an hour, every single person on the station had volunteered to go. Admiral Grace Foster was drinking coffee in her office at Earth Command when the emergency signal arrived from the Cerberus station. She read Captain Bell's message twice before setting down her cup with shaking hands. An alien distress call. Pirates attacking innocent families. Children in danger. She had been in the military for 30 years, and she knew what this meant. If humanity responded, it would change everything. They would no longer be just another species minding their own business in space. They would become something else entirely. Her aide, Commander Nick Walsh, knocked on her door. Admiral, the Joint Chiefs are asking for an immediate meeting about the Cerberus situation. Tell them I'll be there in 5 minutes, Grace said. She stood up and straightened her uniform. This was the kind of decision that would be remembered forever. The meeting room was full of worried faces. General Tom Hughes from the Marines looked grim. Admiral Susan Davis from the Space Navy was reading the report again. Secretary of Defense Peter Clark was on a video call from Washington. The political situation is clear, Secretary Clark said. Through the screen, we have no treaty obligations to help these aliens. Getting involved could make enemies we don't need. General Hughes slammed his hand on the table. With respect, sir, since when do we abandon innocent people because it's politically convenient? This isn't about politics, Admiral Davis added. This is about who we are as a species. If we let pirates murder families while we sit and do nothing, what does that make us? Grace listened to the arguments for 20 minutes. She understood both sides. But deep down, she already knew what they had to do. Americans had never been good at watching bullies hurt the weak and doing nothing about it. I'm authorizing Operation Shepherd, she announced. The room went quiet. We're sending a fleet to rescue those aliens. Within 2 hours, ships all across human space received emergency orders. The heavy cruiser Iron Wolf was the first to respond. Captain Danny Brooks had been conducting training exercises near Mars when the call came. He was a veteran of the Titan Wars, a man who understood both space combat and command. Amy, what's our fastest route to the rally point? He asked his tactical officer, Amy Chen. She was young but brilliant, known for her ability to plan complex military operations. Amy was already working on her computer. If we push the engines hard, we can reach the Cherbius station in 18 hours. The other ships should arrive around the same time. Dr. Kate Sullivan, the ship's chief medical officer, was in her medical bay preparing for casualties. She had never treated alien injuries before, but she was studying everything they knew about Zephyrian biology. Their blood was blue instead. Of red in their bones were lighter than human bones, but they felt pain just like humans did. The destroyers Thunderbolt and Lightning Strike were the next to arrive at the rally point. Captain Ben Carter commanded the Thunderbolt while Captain Holly Mason led the Lightning Strike. Both were experienced fighters who had served in the border conflicts with human pirates. This is different from fighting human criminals, Ben told his crew over the ship's communication system. These Crimson Corsairs are known for being especially cruel. They torture their prisoners and sell them as slaves. We're not just fighting for victory, we're fighting to save lives. Marine Colonel Steve Harrison was aboard the assault ship Hammer with his 3rd Orbital Drop Battalion. These were the toughest soldiers humanity had, trained for boarding enemy ships in space and fighting in zero gravity. Harrison had fought pirates before, but never alien ones. Listen up, he told his Marines as they checked their weapons and armor. We're going into unknown territory here. We don't know how many pirates there are, or what kind of weapons they have. But we know they're hurting innocent people, and that's all we need to know. Commander Lucy Torres was preparing her fighter squadrons on the carrier Falcon. She had 60 of humanity's best pilots under her command, flying the newest and fastest ships Earth could build. Each pilot had volunteered for this mission, even though they knew it could mean war with unknown enemies. The fleet kept growing. As more ships arrived, frigates, destroyers, supply ships, and medical vessels all gathered around the Iron Wolf. Navigation. Officer Tony Garcia worked day and night to plan their route through hyperspace. The trip to Kepler 442 would take 3 days. They had to arrive ready to fight. Engineer Maya Singh was pushing every ship's engines beyond their normal limits. She knew it was dangerous, but speed was more important than safety right now. Every hour they delayed meant more aliens might die or be captured. Captain Brooks, she reported. I can give you an extra half day if we run the reactors at 110% power. It's risky, but it won't cause permanent damage. Do it, Brooks replied without hesitation. The final count was impressive. 6 destroyers, 12 frigates, 2 boarding ships. 1 carrier with 60 fighters, and the heavy cruiser Iron Wolf leading them all. It was the largest human military force ever assembled for a single operation. As the fleet prepared to jump into hyperspace, Admiral Foster sent them a final message. You carry with you the hopes of all humanity. Show the galaxy who we are and what we stand for. Bring those people home. Captain Brooks looked around his bridge at his crew. They were ready. Humanity was about to announce itself to the galaxy. In the strongest way possible, it's all ships. This is Iron Wolf. Jump in 3, 2, 1. Mark. The fleet disappeared into hyperspace, racing toward a battle that would change the course of galactic history. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Captain Danny Brooks stood on the bridge of the Iron Wolf, staring at the screens showing what waited for them. What he saw made his blood run cold. 3 alien ships floated dead in space. The Gentle Current, the Zephyrian trade vessel that had sent the distress call, was dark and silent. 2 other ships that had come to help were also destroyed. Bodies floated in the vacuum around them, their life support suits torn open. Sensors show 15 pirate ships scattered through the asteroid field, Amy Chen reported from her tactical station. They're using the rocks as cover. I'm also detecting life signs on several ships, but they're weak. Brooks felt anger building in his chest. These pirates had not just attacked the Zephyrians. They had killed anyone who tried to help. The floating bodies in space told a story of cruelty that made him sick. Signal the fleet, Brooks ordered. Battle stations. We're going hunting. The Crimson Corsairs had made their biggest mistake. They thought they were dealing with just another weak alien species. They had no idea they were about to face humans in combat for the first time. Captain Ben Carter on the Thunderbolt was the first to engage. His destroyer moved through the asteroid field like a shark, hunting for pirate ships hiding behind the 510 rocks. When he found the first one, a small raider trying to escape with stolen cargo, he showed no mercy. Target their engines, Carter told his weapons officer. I want them alive for questioning. The Thunderbolt's guns tore through the pirate ship's hull. The raider tried to fight back, but their weapons were no match for human military technology. Within minutes, the pirate ship was drifting helplessly in space. Captain Holly Mason on the Lightning Strike was having similar success. She cornered 2 pirate vessels near a large asteroid and destroyed both of them when they refused to surrender. The pirates were learning that humans did not fight like other aliens. They fought to win, completely and without mercy. Commander. Lucy Torres launched her fighter squadrons from the Falcon. 60 of humanity's best pilots streaked through the asteroid field, hunting down pirates who thought they could hide in the rocks. The lead pilot was Commander Jack Stone, a veteran, who had fought in more battles than anyone could count. Falcon leader to all fighters, Jack's voice crackled over the radio. These pirates have been spacing prisoners. I'm seeing Zephyrian bodies floating everywhere. No prisoners. No survivors among the Corsairs. Lieutenant Sarah Kim was flying beside Jack when they found the worst sight of all. The pirate carrier Blood Reaper was throwing alien prisoners out of airlocks, watching them die in space. The pirates thought this would scare the humans away. They were wrong. "All fighters attack pattern Delta," Jack ordered. Voice was cold as ice. "Take that carrier apart." The human fighters swarmed at the Blood Reaper like angry wasps. The pirates had never faced pilots who flew with such skill and fury. Their own fighters were destroyed so quickly, they barely had time to scream over their radios. Chris Lopez, another veteran pilot, managed to cripple the carrier's main engines. The massive ship began spinning out of control, but the pirates inside were still throwing prisoners into space. "This is Iron Wolf to all ships," Captain Brooks announced over the fleet communication system. "New rules of engagement. Any pirate ship harming prisoners will be destroyed immediately. No warnings." Mercy. The tide of battle turned completely. The Crimson Corsairs had built their reputation on being cruel to helpless victims. They had never fought an enemy that was both stronger and angrier than they were. Colonel Steve Harrison was preparing his Marines for boarding operations when his sensors detected something that made him even more furious. Hidden in the asteroid field was a pirate base, carved into a large rock. Thermal scans showed hundreds of life signs inside. "Captain Brooks, we have a slave camp," Harrison reported. "Looks like they've been collecting prisoners from multiple attacks. I'm reading at least 300 life signs, maybe more." Brooks studied the tactical display. The pirate base was heavily defended, but it was also where they would find the survivors from the Gentle Current and the other attacked ships. "All ships. New priority target," Brooks announced.
"Asteroid base. We're going to free every prisoner they have."
The battle became more intense as the pirates realized the humans were not going to just rescue the Zephyrians and leave. They were going to destroy the entire Corsair operation in this system. But the pirates had made one critical error. They had shown no mercy to helpless prisoners, including children. Now they faced an enemy that believed in protecting the innocent, no matter what species they were. Engineer Matt Johnson on the Iron Wolf had been working on something special. He had managed to hack into the pirate communication network and was listening to their radio chatter. What he heard told him everything. He needed to know about their enemy. "Captain, they're panicking," Matt reported. "They keep asking each other what species we are. They've never seen ships like ours or weapons like ours. Some of them are talking about retreating from the entire sector." Brooks smiled grimly. "Good. Let them spread the word. Let every pirate in the galaxy know that Earth has joined the fight." Duh. Human fleet moved like a well-trained machine, systematically destroying every pirate ship they could find. The Crimson Corsairs were learning what it meant to face humanity in battle, and the lesson was simple. Humans did not abandon anyone in need. Colonel Steve Harrison led his Marines through the dark corridors of the captured pirate ship. The metal walls were covered with strange symbols, and the air smelled like fear and death. His men moved carefully, their weapons ready, checking every room for survivors and enemies. "Clear left," whispered Sergeant Major Paul Rodriguez as he kicked open another door. What they found inside made even these hardened soldiers stop and stare in horror. The room was full of cages, small cages meant to hold prisoners. Most were empty now, but some still contained alien beings, Zephyrians, but also other species the humans had never seen before. All of them were thin and scared, their eyes wide with terror. "Medical team to Deck 5. Harrison spoke into his radio. "We need Dr. Sullivan down here right now." Dr. Kate Sullivan arrived with her medical team within minutes. She had treated battle wounds before, but nothing had prepared her for what she saw in the pirate ship. The aliens had been tortured, starved, and worse. Many were barely alive. "These aren't just from the recent attack," she told Harrison, as she worked to treat a young Zephyrian who couldn't have been older than a human child. "Some of these prisoners have been here for months, maybe years." Harrison felt something dark and cold settle in his chest. He had fought human pirates before, but they usually just wanted money or cargo. These Crimson Corsairs were something else entirely. They enjoyed causing pain. On the Iron Wolf, Captain Brooks was coordinating the attack on the asteroid base. The pirate fortress was built deep inside the rock, with only a few ways in or out. Heavy weapons protected the entrance, and the pirates were fighting desperately now that they knew they faced humans. "Amy, I want a full bombardment of their weapons positions," Brooks ordered. "Clear a path for the boarding teams." Amy Chen worked at her tactical station, targeting the pirate guns with precision strikes. The Iron Wolf's weapons were far more advanced than anything the pirates had ever seen. Each shot destroyed exactly what it was aimed at. Nothing more, nothing less. "Communications Officer Rachel Torres has been listening to the pirate radio chatter," Amy reported. "They're calling for reinforcements from other systems. They're also asking their command what humans are and why they fight so hard." Brooks almost smiled at that. Let them wonder. Let them spread the word that humanity had arrived in the galaxy. They protected the innocent. Commander Jack Stone was leading another fighter attack against pirate ships, trying to escape the system. Squadron had already destroyed 6 vessels, but more kept trying to run. None of them were going to make it. "Stone to all fighters," he said over the radio. "Remember, these pirates have been torturing prisoners for sport. They threw children into space. Show them what happens when they mess with people under human protection." Lieutenant Sarah Kim destroyed a fleeing pirate corvette with a single missile. The explosion lit up the asteroid field like a small sun. She felt no satisfaction from the kill, only grim determination to make sure no pirate escaped to hurt others. Back on the captured pirate ship, Sergeant Major Rodriguez was exploring the lower decks when he found something that made his blood boil. It was a room full of videos. The pirates had been recording their torture sessions and selling them to other criminals across the galaxy. "Colonel, you need to see this," Rodriguez called on his radio. His voice was tight with barely controlled rage. Harrison arrived and watched one of the videos. It showed Zephyrian families being separated, parents forced to watch as their children were hurt. He turned off the screen and looked at his Marines. Every face showed the same cold anger he felt. "Burn it all," Harrison ordered. "Every piece of equipment, every record, every trace of what they did here. These monsters don't deserve to be remembered." Dr. Sullivan was working in the ship's medical bay when she made a discovery that changed everything. Among the rescued prisoners was a Zephyrian elder named Singing Water Over Stones. He was weak and injured, but he could speak some human languages. "Why?" the alien asked her in broken English. "Why do humans help strangers? We are not your people. We have nothing to give you." Sullivan looked into his large, gentle eyes and gave him the only answer that made sense. "Because it's the right thing to do. Because no one should suffer like this. Because we're all people, no matter what we look like." The old Zephyrian began to cry. In his culture, tears meant joy, not sadness. He had given up hope of ever seeing kindness again. On the bridge of the Iron Wolf, Engineer Matt Johnson was still listening to pirate communications. What he heard made him call Captain Brooks immediately. "Sir, I'm picking up a transmission from their main base. It's not in this system. They're coordinating with at least 12 other pirate fleets across 6 star systems. This operation is huge." Brooks felt his jaw tighten. The Crimson Corsairs weren't just local pirates. They were a galactic criminal organization, and the base they were attacking was just one small part of it. "How long until our reinforcements arrive?" Brooks asked Amy. "Admiral Foster is sending 3 more battle groups," Amy replied. "They'll be here in 2 days. Brooks nodded. 2 days to finish cleaning out this system and prepare for a larger war? Because that's what this was becoming. Humanity had fired the first shots in a war against galactic slavery and piracy. The asteroid base was finally cracking under the human assault. Colonel Harrison's Marines were preparing for the final boarding action when the pirates inside sent a message. "We surrender," came the transmission. "Please, we give up. Out. Don't kill us." Harrison looked at the screens showing the torture rooms, the slave pens, the videos of murdered families. He thought about the Zephyrian children who had been thrown into space for sport. "Surrender not accepted," he replied. The final assault on the pirate asteroid base began at dawn, ship time. Colonel Harrison's Marines blasted through the outer hull, while Captain Brooks provided covering fire from the Iron Wolf. The pirates inside fought desperately. They would receive no mercy from the humans. The battle inside the asteroid was brutal and short. The Marines moved through the tunnels like a deadly storm, clearing room after room. They found more torture chambers, more slave pens, and more evidence of cruelty that made even hardened soldiers sick to their stomachs. Sergeant Major Rodriguez kicked down the door to what looked like the command center. Inside, 3 pirate leaders were trying to destroy computer files that would reveal the locations of other bases. Rodriguez shot the computers first, then turned his weapon on the pirates. "Wait." One of them begged in broken galactic common. "We have information. We can tell you where the other bases are. We can help you." Rodriguez looked at the alien pirate with cold eyes. Behind the creature were screens showing live feeds from other pirate bases. He could see more prisoners, more slaves, more innocent beings suffering while these monsters profited. "The time for deals is over," Rodriguez said, and pulled the trigger. Within 4 hours, the asteroid base was completely destroyed. Every pirate inside was dead. Every computer and piece of equipment was either captured or destroyed. The human Marines had found over 400 prisoners from 12 different alien species, all in various stages of starvation and abuse. Dr. Sullivan worked around the clock to treat the rescued slaves. Many were too weak to survive, but she saved as many as she could. The Zephyrian elder, singing water over stones, helped her communicate with the other species and understand their medical needs. "Doctor," the old Zephyrian said to her, as she treated a wounded child from a species she had never seen before. "In all my years traveling the galaxy, I have never seen one people fight so hard for strangers. Why do humans do this?" Sullivan looked up from her patient and thought about the question. "Because we know what it's like to be hurt by bullies. Because we believe that might doesn't make right. Someone has to stand up for those who can't fight back." The old alien nodded slowly. "Your species will be remembered for this day. The story will spread to every world, every system. The galaxy will know that humans are the ones who came when no one else would." On the bridge of the Iron Wolf, Captain Brooks was preparing his fleet for the journey home when Admiral Foster's voice came over the communication system. "Brooks, this is Foster. It's outstanding work out there. The President himself has asked me to pass along his congratulations. You've made all of humanity proud." "Thank you, Admiral," Brooks replied. "But this is just the beginning. We captured intelligence showing this pirate network spans 6 star systems. There are thousands more prisoners out there, I know," Foster said. "We're already preparing a larger operation. The Galactic Council has been watching what happened at Kepler 442. They want to meet with us." Brooks looked around his bridge at his crew. Amy Chen was analyzing the captured pirate data. Rachel Torres was coordinating with the rescue ships, carrying freed slaves. Engineer Matt Johnson was working on upgrades to their weapon systems. Every one of them was ready to continue the fight. 3 days later, the human fleet arrived back at Earth with 400 freed slaves from 12 species. The rescue ships were met by medical teams, diplomats, and news crews from across human space. The galaxy was watching. The Zephyrian captain of the destroyed trade vessel, flowing wind through stars, had survived the pirate attack by hiding in a damaged escape pod. When he was brought aboard the Iron Wolf, he could barely speak through his emotions. Sent the distress call, hoping anyone might help. He told Captain Brooks, "I never dreamed an entire fleet would come. I never imagined any species would risk war to save strangers." Brooks shook the alien captain's hand gently. Zephyrians were more fragile than humans, but their courage was just as strong. "We don't abandon people in distress. Ever. That's not who we are." The news of the rescue spread across the galaxy faster than hyperspace travel. On 1,000 worlds in 100 different languages, the story was told of how humans had received a distress call from strangers and sent a fleet to help. The Crimson Corsairs. Meanwhile, we're learning what it meant to have humanity as an enemy. The remaining bases were suddenly under attack by human forces that seemed to appear from nowhere. Pirate ships that had operated freely for decades were being hunted down and destroyed. Admiral Foster addressed the Galactic Council 3 weeks after the Kepler 442 battle. Representatives from 50 species listened as she spoke. Humanity formally announces our position in galactic affairs, she said. We are not conquerors. We do not seek to rule other species or take their territory. But we will not tolerate the strong preying upon the weak. We will not stand by while innocents suffer and die. The alien representatives listened in silence. Some were afraid of what humanity's arrival meant for the balance of power in the galaxy. Others were hopeful that finally someone was willing to fight the criminals and pirates that plagued their worlds. A representative from the Altarian Republic stood up. His people had been attacked by pirates just like the Zephyrians had. Do you want from us in return for this protection? Foster smiled. Nothing. We want nothing except for people to be free to live their lives without fear. We're not charging for this service. We're not demanding tribute or territory. We're doing it because it's right. The silence in the council chamber was complete. In a galaxy where every action had a price, where every favor carried a debt, humanity was offering something unprecedented. Protection without payment, help without strings attached. The old Zephyrian, singing Water Over Stones, had the last word. Speaking to a gathering of rescued slaves from many worlds, he said what would become humanity's unofficial motto in galactic affairs. When all hope was lost, when darkness covered the stars, when evil seemed triumphant, the humans came. They asked for nothing in return except the chance to do what was right.